I can call back the solemn twilight and mystery of the deep woods, the earthy smells, the faint odors of the wild flowers, the sheen of rain-washed foliage, the rattling clatter of drops when the wind shook the trees, the far-off hammering of woodpeckers, and the muffled drumming of wood pheasants in the remoteness of the forest, the snapshot glimpses of disturbed wild creatures scurrying through the grass. I can call it all back and make it as real as it ever was and as blessed. I can call back the prairie and its loneliness and peace, and a vast hawk, hanging motionless in the sky with its wings spread wide and the blue of the vault showing through the fringe of their end feathers. I can see the woods in their autumn dress, the oaks purple, the hickories washed with gold, the maples and the sumacs luminous with crimson fires. And I can hear the rustle made by the fallen leaves as we plowed through them. I can see the blue clusters of wild grapes hanging amongst the foliage of the saplings, and I remember the taste of them and the smell. I know how the wild blackberries looked and how they tasted, and the same with the pawpaws, the hazelnuts, and the persimmons, and I can feel the thumping rain upon my head, of hickory nuts and walnuts when we were out in the frosty dawns to scramble for them with the pigs, and the gusts of wind loosed them and sent them down. I know the stain of blackberries and how pretty it is, and I know the stain of walnut hulls, and how little it minds soap and water, also what grudged experience it had of either of them. I know the taste of maple sap and when to gather it, and how to arrange the troughs and the delivery tubes, and how to boil down the juice, and how to hook the sugar after it's made. Also how much better hooked sugar tastes than any that has honestly come by. Let bigots say what they will. I know how a prize watermelon looks when it is sunning its fat rotundity among pumpkin vines. I know how to tell when it is ripe without plugging it. I know how inviting it looks when it is cooling itself in a tub of water under the bed, waiting. I know how it looks when it lies on the table in the sheltered great floor space between house and kitchen, and the children gathered for the sacrifice and their mouths watering. I know the crackling sound it makes when the carving knife enters its end. I can see the split fly along the front of the blade as the knife cleaves its way to the other end. I can see its halves fall apart and display the rich red meat, the black seeds, and the heart standing up. A luxury fit for the elect. I know how a boy looks behind a yard-long slice of that melon, and I know how he feels, for I have been there. I know the taste of the watermelon which has been honestly come by, and I know the taste of the watermelon which has been acquired by art. Both taste good, but the experienced know which tastes best. I know the look of green apples and peaches and pears on the trees, and I know how entertaining they are when they are inside of a person. I know how ripe ones look when they are piled in pyramids under the trees, and how pretty they are and how vivid their colors. I know how a frozen apple looks in a barrel down cellar in the wintertime, and how hard it is to bite, and how the frost makes the teeth ache, and yet how good it is notwithstanding. I know the disposition of elderly people to select the speckled apples for the children. I once knew ways to beat the game. I know the look of an apple that is roasting and sizzling on a hearth on a winter's evening. And I know the comfort that comes of eating it hot along with some sugar and a drench of cream. I know the delicate art and mystery of so crackling hickory nuts and walnuts on a flat iron with a hammer that the kernels will be delivered whole. And I know how the nuts, taken in conjunction with winter apples, cider, and donuts, make old people's old tales and old jokes sound fresh, crisp, and enchanting, and juggling away before you know what went with the time. I can remember the bare wooden stairway in my uncle's house, and you turn to the left above the landing, and the rafters of the slanting roof over my bed, and the squares of moonlight on the floor, and the white, cold world of snow outside seen through the curtainless window. I can remember the howling of the wind and the quaking of the house on stormy nights, and how snug and cozy one felt under the blankets listening, and how the powdery snow used to sift in round the sashes and lie in little ridges on the floor and make the place a little chilly in the morning, and curb the wild desire to get up in case there was any. I can remember how very dark that room was in the dark of the room, how packed it was with ghostly stillness, when one woke up by accident away in the night, and forgotten sins came flocking out of the chambers of the memory and wanted a hearing. And how ill-chosen the time seemed for this kind of business. How dismal was the hoo-hooing of the owl